Chapter 17, Mental Healing Methods. The student is advised to acquaint himself thoroughly with what we have written on the questions of thought force treatments, suggestive treatments, metaphysical treatments, etc., in order to get a full general idea of what is required to be held in the mind of the healer in giving treatments. He may take such parts of each as appeal to him, leaving the others for those to whom they appeal. Let the intuition decide this matter for each of you. It will act for your best interests and success in healing. In giving mental healing treatments, the mind of the healer must be able to picture the desired conditions in the patient, that is to mentally see the patient as healed, and the parts, organs and cells functioning normally. In short, in the degree that the healer is able to mentally visualize the normal conditions, so will be the degree of success in mental healing. Dismiss all doubt from your mind, and train your mind to see the desired condition just as if it were actually before you, exposed to your physical gaze. Train yourself in this from day to day, and you will be surprised to see how rapidly you advance until you attain the sense of power and healing that will sweep over you like a wave. So far as transmitting the thought is concerned, that requires no strenuous effort on the part of the healer. The main difficulty lies in the ability to form the mental image, just described, that once formed the thought is easily transmitted by merely thinking of it as occurring. This last may seem strange to many of you who have understood, or have been taught, that great concentration and effort were needed in order to project a thought. This teaching is incorrect. The truth being that the concentration is needed only for the purpose of producing a clear-cut mental image, clear visualizing, and that once accomplished the transmission or projection is accomplished by a mere act of desire or will, in other words, in thinking of it as occurring. Some healers and adepts in thought transmission have found it of advantage to them in their work to imagine that they could see the thought actually leave their brain, actually travel through space, and actually be received by the mind of the patient. This plan certainly will aid the mind in holding firm to the mental image until it takes effect. In treating a patient who is present, you should first tell him to quiet and calm himself. In short, you should endeavor to get him to go into the silence as much as possible. We do not mean by this that he should go to sleep, or slumber, but merely that he should calm his mind, and withdraw his thoughts from the things and scenes of the outer life, so far as is possible. In order to aid in bringing about this effect, you should endeavor to have the room made quiet and still, and should also avoid bright lights which are apt to distract the attention. The proper condition once established, you should sit quietly until you feel that your own mental state is right for the treatment, that your vibrations are raised to the proper degree. Your own feelings must decide this for you. Then you may begin the treatment proper. From a mental image of the patient restored to health, form a mental ideal of the proper conditions, and then think of that condition transferred to the mind of the patient, a transfer of the mental photograph as it were. You may use words in forming the mental conditions you wish, silently, of course. The main thing is to form the mental picture of the ideal condition that you wish to bring about. Remember this always. Try to mentally visualize your patient as restored to perfect health, and endeavor to hold that picture constantly before the mind during the treatment. It may be well to supplement the treatment by words of advice and encouragement for the patient, and a little instruction in the power of his own mind in the direction of cooperation with your thought. In absent treatment, or distant healing, as it is called, the healer should proceed in exactly the same way as if the patient were present. He should imagine that the patient is right in the room before him, and then he should address the treatment just as if he were addressing it to the patient in person. The thoughts should be seen mentally to leave, travel, and reach the patient. Many healers in giving absent treatment speak mentally to the patient, as if he were present, telling him the things that should be told him, just as if he were present in person to hear them. This distant talk may consist merely of suggestions of health, strength, and restored vitality, or, on the other hand, of statements of truth and being, such as are used by the metaphysical healers. It should be unnecessary to add that the healing thought of love is a most powerful aid to the restoration of health. Let your thought of love sweep through the mind of the patient, driving out all adverse and negative thoughts that have been lodging there. In giving absent treatments, it will be helpful if the patient will place himself in a quiet, receptive attitude during the time of treatment, this result being accomplished by yourself and the patient agreeing upon the hour or time of treatment. However, this is not imperative or absolutely essential, as many healers do not treat their patients at any particular time, but give the treatment when the conditions seem best to them. Now, Any attempt to give fuller and more detailed instructions in the matter of giving this form of treatment would be useless, and mere repetition. We have given you in a few words the master key to the treatment, the very essence of the teachings. If you will impress these instructions upon your mind, in connection with what we have given you under the head of suggestive treatments, thought force treatments and absent pranic treatments, you will be able to give most powerful and effective mental treatments. We might make a book out of this one phase of the subject alone, by merely padding out the subject and repeating what we have already told you in other parts of the book. But this is unnecessary and foreign to the purpose of this book, which aims to be a simple, plain, concise teacher of the methods of psychic healing in its various forms. The book must be read, studied and considered as a whole, for the instructions given in one method have a bearing upon those given under another head. To give full detailed instructions under each head would make 3 or 4 books instead of one. So kindly remember that you should acquaint yourselves with all of the methods given in order to obtain the full benefit of the instructions imparted.